Hello, Tiger football fans, and welcome back to a new week, a new edition of the Perry Thomas Show here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we visit with the head coach of Fighting Tiger football, Perry Thomas. The Tigers go on a road trip this week, and they return to play after a long layoff, Coach. And a smart man once said, "I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day." It was a struggle. You knew it might be a bit challenging with the long layoff, but your Tigers prevailed.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great win. 30 years from now, we'll look in the record book and it'll be a win, and we're happy about that. It wasn't the best executed game in any shape or form by us, and we did play up against a good team that's in midseason form, and they set out a great challenge. But the positive is our guys found a way to get the win. And that's the big thing we take away from it. It is a win. Sometimes you get caught up in stats and so forth, and you can't really get into that. The only stat that really matters is the victory. We got that, so we got things to improve on, but we're not going to improve on those things until we play. So we have to play games now. We've done enough practice. We need to play games.
You guys got to the field there, Coach, and around the team, what was the locker room like? Yeah. What was the atmosphere? I know it had been a long layoff. They were ready to go.
Well, they were ready to play. I mean, they were ready to play. They've worked hard in this off time, and it's kind of like an off season again. And but they were dedicated. No issues, as far as mentality and work ethic and so forth. They were ready to play. So. They were hyped up before the game, but you could also tell in warm up and pregame. Coach Garrison and I was talking, you could see the game miscues happening then that you don't really see in practice. I mean, so even in our warm-up, you could see, all right, we're not going to have the timing that we prayed that we would have. You knew there was a possibility, but you hope you could overcome it. But you could see it in warm-up that it was going to be a challenging day. Not so much just because of Bethel. Bethel, we knew they were challengers, period. But it was going to be a challenging day just for our execution standpoint in every phase, and it proved to be true.
The Tigers and Bethel have had a couple of games that have become instant classics, Coach, and kind of put together a little graphic over the last two matchups. 96 combined points for each team. Total plays pretty close there. The Tigers with 15 less total plays. It's not listed, but the Tigers do have about 120, 140 more yards of total offense, and then first downs within one first down of one another there, 52-53 in favor of the Tigers. And, these games have been really exciting. Last year was a game here at Campbellsville and nearly completed a miraculous comeback. Right. It was a 33-point deficit at one point, ended up falling by 6. This time in McKenzie, you're able to get over the hump and pull out a late comeback in overtime, and it was really exciting. The guys were really fired up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great win for us. You look at the two programs, they've been kind of Bethel has been out at the forefront in the league for a while, and so they have a strong program, well coached, great tradition, and we've been able to battle with them over the last 4 or 5 years that we've renewed the series with them. For a while there we wasn't playing, and they've been competitive games for the most part. There's been a couple of lopsided wins in there that we had, but other than that, they've been competitive games, and these last 2 years have been really competitive games. But like you said, this year we was able to go down and get the victory, and it took everything we had to do it. You had to have some great defensive stands. You had to have some great offensive stands at times where we actually got in position to win, and then you had to have some good kicking game to pull it out also. So although all three phases didn't play as well as you would like, all three phases had to contribute for us to get the victory.
And the Tigers get some great individual efforts as well on Saturday. And you talk about some of the young guys leading this team, Coach, a junior wide receiver, a sophomore linebacker, Keanu Young, and Justin Manning, the Bluegrass Division Players of the Week. Keanu, 11 catches, 200 yards. He was phenomenal with a touchdown. And Justin Manning, as we've grown accustomed to seeing, that number 44 is around the field on defense, all over sideline to sideline. Finishes with 16 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, I think a sack and a half. And those two guys were tremendous individually for you Saturday.
Yeah, they stepped up and played well. Keanu, we had a couple of plays designed for him that he really runs well and been working on them. And in the first quarter, I think he caught a couple of balls, and I just told him, I said, "You're going to be player of the week this week. I mean, this thing is wide open for you," and he executed well. And Hunter was getting him the ball, and then Justin's a football player, and we're very blessed to have three really good inside linebackers with Justin Manning, Darius Moore, and DeAndre Hollis. And we could play all three of them now with Hollis back in the lineup, so they don't get fatigued, and it allows those guys to get downhill and make plays. And Justin, of course, he's a player as a sophomore, and he's all over the field. And we was talking to our team also that winning goes a long way, because you look at last year, Justin, I think against Cumberland, had 24 tackles, sack, a fumble, forced fumble or something, and he didn't get player of the week. You come out and you win, and he has 16, and we're able to get that. And I think every week that we've played a game, we've had someone, either offense or defense, and a couple of times both, to get the Bluegrass Player of the Week, and also someone to get the NCCAA Player of the Week. So very proud of those guys, and it's a team effort to get those, but those guys are well deserving.
And Coach, one thing too, before we take a break here, this first segment, I love our conversations right after the game. You come up to the press box there at Wildcat Stadium. You said this game is almost like a microcosm of our season to this point, is what you told me, and it was a game of runs, and there was a lot of momentum and back and forth, and explain to the fans, kind of how you put those two together there on the sideline Saturday.
Right. Well, it's just been a weird year. I mean, it's been a weird year. I mean, very rare do you have a season where you have games canceled, and you, along with not just canceling games, but you also have an open date. So you have a 27-day layoff after going 2-0, having a little momentum. So now your momentum shot, your rhythm is shot, and then you come out in that game, and the game kind of played like the season. We had some great stuff to go on, but there was a struggle in there, and we had to find a way to win. We get a fumble, it's trying to stop them to get the ball back. We marched down and we kicked a field goal after having a field goal blocked, and an extra point missed and so forth. So, it was just a crazy game, but just like the season, it's been positive, and we're having a great year being 3-0. We was able to win that funny game. So it's been a weird year so far, but hopefully we'll keep winning during this weird year, and it's something these guys remember for a lifetime.
And you take all the weird years you can get at 3-0
Yes,
and undefeated. The Tigers will certainly sign up for that. We'll step away and come back. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the highlights, the box score as well, from the Tigers' 43-37 overtime win in McKenzie, Tennessee over Bethel University. Stay with us on the Perry Thomas Show.
Campbellsville Baptist Church, a church where all ages grow in the love of God. From children and youth worship to sports ministry and mission outreach, Campbellsville Baptist Church shares the love of God both in and outside of the sanctuary. Join us for worship on Sunday mornings at 9 and small group Bible study at 10:30. That's Campbellsville Baptist Church, the people of God sharing God's love, because God's love changes the world.
Citizens Bank and Trust knows just how hectic your day can be. Stay on track during your busiest days with Citizens Bank and Trust. Buying the latest gear to support your favorite team, or grabbing a coffee after studying all night. Citizens Bank allows you to deposit your checks with the snap of a picture at any time, especially after hours. Citizens Bank and Trust, keeping you on schedule. Now introducing Apple, Android, and Google Pay.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Whether you're 2 or 102, the Tigerville Grill has something for you. Take advantage of the Build Your Own Burger menu. In the mood for something small? Choose one of the many delicious slider options. Call ahead and use our fast and easy drive-thru. Oh, that cool freestyle fountain drink machine? We've still got it. The Tigerville Grill, located at 314 North Columbia Avenue and open to the public 11 to 8 daily.
Welcome back to the Perry Thomas Show, Tiger fans, here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on Comcast Cable as well as 88.7 The Tiger. Matt Payton visiting with the head coach of the Fighting Tigers, Perry Thomas. And Coach, key matchup on the road to Bethel. We talked about it, 43-37 overtime win. But maybe the most important thing, divisional play started up and able to be victorious there.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's huge, and that's why I said, when you get to certain points, and even though it's just our third game of playing this season, you get in divisional games, the big thing has to be the victory. You have to continue to get better. You have to continue to improve. But you can't get caught up in how many yards you get and how many yards they get. And sometimes you can't even get caught up in how you win. And you just have to find a way to win those games. And then you come back the next week and you address those deficiencies to fix them. And that was our big thing Saturday. This is a divisional game. We have to get the win. And fortunately, we was able to do that. So we go to 1-0 on this division play for the season and 3-0 overall. And it keeps us in the hunt for that title.
We take a look at some of the numbers that made up that ball game, that win over Bethel University as we look at the box score. Hunter Brown, 21 of 39, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. The rushing attack for the Tigers, unbelievable on Saturday. Sean Goodman and Wade Holtzclaw combined for 27 carries, 216 yards, and 3 scores. Wade Holtzclaw also had a receiving touchdown as well in that ball game. Keanu Young, we mentioned, 11 catches, 200 yards, and a touchdown. That's only the second 200-yard game in Tiger history in terms of receiving. Then Justin Manning, of course, 16 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a sack and a half. Coach, this is one of those games, too, high-scoring game, but in terms of just what we're accustomed to seeing, it wasn't one of those huge monster Hunter Brown days, even though he had 350 yards. And that's kind of a thing, maybe speaks to just how good he is. It was almost a ho-hum day for him just because some of the numbers weren't there that we're used to seeing.
Right. I guess if you're just looking at it, it wasn't a massive game. But at the same time, it was.
Right.
300-plus yards. Anytime you're throwing for 300-plus yards, you're getting something done. And, made some big plays when we needed to. The rushing attack was so huge for us because, that's going to serve benefits as the year goes on, because now people can't just stunt people and drop 8 people in coverage. Excuse me, you have to sit in that box a little bit more and take care of those running backs and who can catch out the backfield also. So that opens up other lanes for us. But I thought consistently offensively we had a good game. We had a lot of miscues that when you break down film you can see. But at the same time, we had a big game, at that point. When you look at those stats defensively, I thought we had a good game. It was 3 plays that gave them the bulk of their yards, and those weren't plays that they tricked us on or that we couldn't defend. They were plays that we were out of position on. And that's not to disrespect them because they did a good job of executing them. But, there was 3 or 4 plays there that we could have really made that thing easier. Kicking game, we had a great game, but the block for 6 for a touchdown, loomed large as the game went on. You take that off the board, then it's a little bit different atmosphere around the game. But when they block that field goal and return it for a score, which very rare you see, that makes it more competitive. But it was a great win, and everybody had to contribute, and that was the good thing about it. Kickoff team did great. Punt team did well. Defense came up with plays when we needed to, and offensively, even though we didn't throw for 500 yards, we had great production in all phases and was able to get that victory.
And we'll take a look at some of those guys that were contributing. Jordan Alves in Sports Information Department shooting the highlights this weekend, and the Tigers get on the board early, and one of those throws to Keanu Young. He had a big touchdown catch here on this first drive. His cousin Kendon kind of helped setting a block here to free Keanu as he makes a cut back there, and the scoring started quick for the Tigers, Coach. A few plays down the field and getting on the board.
And that was great for us because that score came out to be huge. But at the same time, it may have relaxed us a little bit, because we thought it was going to be easy because that was like second or third play. But defensively, Khalil Baker makes a big play, and then once again we get the ball to Keanu. He was running a couple of routes that for whatever reason they just was not covering. And it left him open all night. And I thought Chance and Wade, when they got the ball the other day, whether it was a run or a pass, I thought they really ran well. And if you go back and break down this film, you'll see the offensive line with some very, very strong blocks. Coach Crosby's done a great job with those guys.
Is that something and we'll talk to Coach Crosby about this, and I thought this was a nice play too. Hunter actually points to Keanu. If you picked it up there, he just kind of points to Keanu to hit to the sideline, and he did exactly that. But on those runs, Coach, is that something that was in the Bethel defense, or were your guys just having that much success up front, or a combination of both on those inside
Well, I
runs?
think it was a combination of both. We had some plays that they were designed blocking for what they we expected them to give us, and then our guys executed it real well. You know what I mean? And they're just constantly getting better in those fundamentals. So, that's why I say if you go back and watch the film and break it down, you see some really good things that happened throughout the game. We just had some miscues like game 1s and 2s and 3s you have that showed up for us.
And you try to follow along the scoring. The Tigers score first. I think Bethel came back, coach, and had they end up taking a 10-point lead, I believe, there early,
Right.
and kind of waiting to see how this thing goes. That's a beautiful throw there by Hunter Brown, and that was Kendon Young on the other end. He just drops that in a bucket, coach.
Yeah, and I thought actually, because Kendon didn't touch the ground, he rolled on the guy. I thought it was a touchdown, but we never get those calls.
Hard to do at the NAI level without the benefit of instant replay. And the Tigers, again, they keep battling here. Some pressure on the outside that's coming from DeAndre Hollis. Good to have him back in the lineup, coach. You've talked about him and just what he brings to the table in that linebacker rotation.
He helps us in the kicking game and also in that rotation. He could easily start. And, it's having another starter on the field when he comes in the game. And, Zarek had a quiet game. He comes up with a big old touchdown there, 50 or 60 yards. And he's one of those guys that just shows up every week and makes plays and gets in that end zone.
And that's another one we got to give a shout out to one of those linemen up front, Trey Bender out front, leading the way for Zarek on that screenplay here. Justin Manning, one of his tackles in the backfield, getting help from Kershawn Young there in the backfield as Justin Manning comes up to make a play, and Hunter Brown back to work here, a little timing route on the outside, and Zarek Willis sure-handed as always.
Yeah, once again, comes up with big plays. Defense got to stop, and, we give it to Wade, and he busts up in there and gets some tremendous yards for us. And, it's great having those running backs in there. And, Hunter's just so patient back there. He's just grown so much in that pocket, getting into Keanu again, who once again is just having that magnificent game. And I think this drive right here is when we go down to get us really going in that fourth quarter to get us back in and have a chance to win the game. I think we had a 95-yard drive right here.
And the Tigers, not only do they have that drive, a lot of this coming on the ground, and you can see these inside handoffs. It's not a whole lot fancy. You're not necessarily trying to get outside and bust big runs. You're going right at that Bethel defense.
Body on the body, and the receivers are blocking also, which is huge. If you watch that film, the receivers are downfield getting blocks and just making plays, and then Wade blows up in there and gets a 25-yard touchdown run.
Big run for the Tigers, and here probably, coach, at this point, the play of the game. And sometimes you hear the term, a tennis term, we'll borrow it, an unforced error. Sometimes turnovers, a defense can force them. That's an unforced error, a bad snap, and man, did your guys take advantage.
Yeah, it was huge. We got the ball back. We were actually out of timeout. So after that play, instead of getting a 80-yard field to work on now because of the fumble, we get a 50-yard field to work on. And one pass down there, we get down to field goal range and can't punch it in, but we get the kick to tie it and take this thing into overtime and find a way to win. I think we were down 10 with like 4:39 to go in the game.
And the Tigers get that turnover around 90 seconds left. Here's a 4th and 1 in the overtime, and Bethel elects to go for it. You wonder if they just felt really good about the play or if they just didn't have the confidence in their kicking game. And I think you had said, Coach, at that point, once you got the ball back, it was, okay, we're willing to kick this thing and win it with a field goal.
Yeah, once we stopped them on that 4th and 1, our thing was let's try to score, but we don't have to do anything fancy. Let's run the same running plays we've been running and just had a huge drive on and see if we can bust one, which we did, and score is great. If not, secure the ball and allow Bradley to come out and try to kick that thing through and get the victory.
Chance Goodman had other ideas, the offensive line with other ideas, and he busted a 20-yarder to win it.
Yeah, Terrence Stewart had a huge block on that play, our center. He wrapped around and he actually blocked 2 guys. He drove the linebacker back into the safety and put them both down, and Chance ran up in there through there and got the big score, and then, of course, the celebration started. The
Tigers victorious 43-37, the final score. We'll let Coach hop out of the hot seat here. We'll welcome in the new offensive line coach at Campbellsville University, Eugene Crosby, when we return here on the Perry Thomas Show.
A champion doesn't get days off. It takes determination and drive to realize goals. From long nights to early mornings. From the courts to the classrooms to online. At Campbellsville University, this is why we play. This is how we learn. This is where champions are made. Find your calling for a life change at campbellsville.edu.
Grandpa, famous for dropping a line. Lee's, famous for chicken. Fall into a deal this autumn at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with our Spicy Jumbo Dippers combo for only $5.99. Take flavor and value to a whole new level with a cup of our Spicy Jumbo Dippers, a side, a biscuit, and a regular drink, all for an amazing price. It's a deal that's easy to fall for. Make fall value season at Lee's with our Spicy Jumbo Dippers combo for only $5.99. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Welcome back to the Perry Thomas Show here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we welcome in the newest member of the Fighting Tiger coaching staff. That's Eugene Crosby. And Coach, you prefer Gene, so we'll go with Gene. Thanks for joining us.
Either
today.
one's fine.
Well, Coach, let's go right to it. The fun stuff. First real barn burner on staff. Of course, you'd only had 2 games. You've been here for a while, but only 2 games in the early going. And just talk me through what you were seeing there Saturday afternoon.
They really came out and they gave us their best shot. And it's we got a joke on staff that Coach Brown and I are the lucky charms because we're 3-0 so far, outside of 2 canceled games. But Bethel came out and they really gave us their best shot, and I was really proud of our boys, especially my guys up front. We just kind of took it and just kept plowing through, and we had one heck of a ball game for the fans, and we pulled the win out. So
let's talk about that offensive line, Coach. And I know that pass protection is one thing, but you can really, I think offensive linemen really take pride in those running numbers. And this week with some of the rushing stats, and you got 2 guys, Shantz Goodman and also Wade Holtzclaw, 200 total yards on the ground. That's a pretty good job by your guys.
Yeah, I've been really lucky. I inherited some really great talent, and Coach Garris had built such a good base, and we're just kind of getting those guys a little bit better fundamental wise, and they've kind of come out and really kind of shown that all the hard work that we've done with the summer and everything that's kind of come through is now starting to really show with my guys opening up holes, and then the running backs actually doing a really good job of seeing what they need to see and kind of getting in there, and the production is kind of starting to show.
In that front wall, you just have the one senior, also Ralph Turner. Everybody else should be back next year. So you've got a pretty young core in terms of those guys that are playing a lot.
Yeah, we got some good young guys. We got some great young talent. And I would have never thought there was so much great big guys here in the state. But man, we got some really big guys, and they have and what separates them from a lot of other groups is that they have the ability, but they have the want to get better and to try and improve every week. And our rushing totals have gone up. And the trust has kind of come along with the rest of the team, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. Absolutely.
And talk to me about building continuity on that line, and a lot of assignments and who's got who and all those things. Just walk me through maybe some of those roles that your guys are playing, and how the communication up front with them.
Yeah, I mean we have a few guys that got a lot of experience last year, and a couple new guys we've added in, and they've just kind of taken the teaching that I've brought from previous places, and they've just kind of come together with the thought of 5 as 1. That's one thing we talk about all the time. 5 guys working as one, and it's really in Game 3 we're really starting to hit our stride with all 5 guys working together, getting where they're supposed to be, and the production is starting to match that.
3-0, the Tigers move into the receiving votes column in the NAIA Top 25 poll this week, Coach, and another big game. You finally get back to Finley Stadium, which is always nice to be at home. You welcome in Kentucky Christian University. I know it's early in the week, but kind of your thoughts on this Kentucky Christian University night team.
They're a solid program. They've struggled a little bit this year with the new coaching staff. But, wins and losses don't always tell the story. And them boys up there have battled hard, and it just hasn't shown in the W's. But, they're out there. They got scholarships, and they're trying their butts off. And, it's our job to kind of come out and, do our jobs.
Before we let you go, first time in your coaching tenure, you've had 27 days off between a game?
Absolutely.
And hopefully the last, right?
Boy, I hope so.
The Tigers return to the field on Saturday night as they take on Kentucky Christian University. Coach Crosby, thanks for joining us this week.
Appreciate your time, Matt.
Coach Crosby, the new offensive line coach here for the Campbellsville University Tigers. We'll step away, come back, and Perry Thomas will rejoin us as we get his thoughts on the matchup with the Knights here on the Perry Thomas Show.
Here at Saloma Baptist Church, our mission and ministry extends beyond our walls. We are focused on teaching all ages about the love of Jesus, preparing them for a life of mission. We are committed to serving the local community and the world in the name of Jesus Christ. For more information on service times and mission opportunities, please visit our website at salomabaptist.com. We extend a warm welcome to you and your family here at Saloma Baptist Church.
My name is James C. Miller III, and I started to work at Taylor County Bank on July 1st, 1960. The bank was started because during the crash, the banks here failed, or at least one of them did. So there was a need for an additional bank in Taylor County. But the thing about our bank is this, that we had an old slogan back then. First in service, first in safety, first in convenience, and that's what we've always tried to do, and I think we still do.
Campbellsville University Cosmetology teaches beauty inside and out. The cosmetology students at CU receive salon experience while learning in a contemporary environment from faculty who have worked in the industry. With areas of study ranging from hairstyling to salon management, Campbellsville University Cosmetology can help you turn your passion into a profession. Kickstart your cosmetology career today. Visit campbellsville.edu/cosmetology.
Welcome back to the Perry Thomas Show, Tiger fans. Campbellsville moving to 3-0 on the season as they welcome in Kentucky Christian University this coming Saturday. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff at Finley Stadium under the lights. Coach, I know that's one of your favorite times to play.
Yeah, it's time to get home and have that night game and great atmosphere, and hopefully a ton of people going to come out because we haven't been home since August the 24th, and hopefully we can come out and put on a good show.
I did the math the other day. I don't remember exactly, but it's like 27 days between games, but it's going to be 40-plus days between home games, right, which is, again, unheard of. You had that early Thursday start and all the way into October before you get that second
Yeah,
game.
Phenomenal. I mean, you just don't see that any time. That's what we was talking about the weird season. And long time without a home game. We lose a home game because of the Warner game. So, hopefully the fans will come out, and get behind this 3-0 team, and hopefully our guys will play a little better than we played the other day. It's still, going to be a little shaky at times, but hopefully we'll come out and put on a good show and be able to get a good win.
And before we let you go, let's talk just a little bit about this Knights team. What do we know about Kentucky Christian, a team we're somewhat familiar with? We've seen them quite a bit over the last couple of years.
Yeah, the new head coach. Head coach has been around a while. He was at the Faulkner when they started the program, and they used to put up great numbers. He was the offensive coordinator down there. Then he was with Coach Mummy down at Belhaven and a couple other places. And so he understands the passing game greatly. They're going to throw the ball around the field. They're also going to run some zone, inside and outside zone with their running back and a lot of screens. Defensively, they'll be in a 4-2-5, looks similar to us. Played a little different on the backside, but they're a competitive football team. They've had some lopsided losses because they've turned the ball over for touchdowns. They throw, I think, U-Pike had 3 pick sixes against them, Union a couple. So that kind of makes the scores look ugly at times, but they're a strong football team that's very capable of doing things if they secure the football. So hopefully they don't start securing it this week. But we know that in this league you got to be ready to go every week. You can't look at their record or the scores. People last year would looked at our record and scores and thought we were easy wins, and we weren't easy wins for most people. So we have to come out and just focus once again on us improving, going into the 4th game and getting better.
And the Tigers making that climb, Coach. It's been such a long while since you guys have played, but in the receiving votes column of the NAIA poll, and I know it's still early, but you've got to start to make that ascent at some point, because obviously the end goal is to be in the playoffs and play for a national title.
Yeah, I mean, it's early, so you don't totally focus on that. Right now you focus on continue to win, because if you continue to win, you're going to move up, but it is important to start getting those votes, because you need to get in that top 20 as soon as possible to have a shot at the playoffs.
The Tigers, again, they'll take the field against Kentucky Christian University this Saturday evening as they take on the Knights. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. The Tiger Tailgate Show begins at 6:30. Thanks to Coach Perry Thomas. Also, thanks to Coach Eugene Crosby as well for stopping by. We'll see you next week on the Perry Thomas Show.